Hi, it's Candice with Grow Local, and today we're going to talk a little bit about potatoes. Did you know that there are actually 3 different seasons of potatoes? You can get early potatoes like Warba and Seegland, or you can get mid-season like Chieftain and your Yukon Gold, and your late season potatoes, I can only remember Fingerling, Russian Blue, and Kennebec. And these are really great options if you know that you're going to be around until maybe the end of June, beginning of July. Grow the early season crop, because then you've got all sorts of new potatoes that you can eat before you go on vacation and you don't have to worry about it. If you know you want them when you get back from your vacation, grow the mid-season or the late ones. When you are growing your potatoes, you have different options. You can grow them in the ground or you can grow them in buckets. You can make a trench 6 inches deep, pop your potatoes in, cover them with about 2 inches of soil, and then let them grow to maybe a foot tall. And then you're going to cover them with another 6 inches of soil. That's called hilling, and that's just going to produce more tubers, so you're going to get a whole lot more potatoes. And you can keep doing that for quite a while, probably until they're waist high if you wanted. Other people will do them in buckets. We've done them in plastic bags. You can use a garbage bag. Garbage cans are actually really good because you can get a larger crop. If you were to use a garbage can, you would put 6 inches of soil in the bottom of the bin, making sure that you put some drainage holes in it first. And then you could probably put about 5 or 6 seed potatoes in it. And again, cover it with 2 inches of soil. You don't have to worry about watering your potatoes right now. They've got enough oomph and juice left in them that they're going to be fine. You want to wait until the green sprouts have actually come up above the ground before you water them. It lessens your risk of rot, okay? This is one that I cut, and I only did it about a half an hour ago. It was nice and shiny and liquid looking, and now it's starting to skin over. This is the same sort of a barrier that you get when you wipe out and you wreck yourself, and now you're going to get a scab. It's their version of a scab. It's protecting it from bacteria in the soil so that your potatoes don't rot. You only need to leave them out like that for 20 minutes, or you can do it the night before. The longer sometimes is better, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. Anyway, this is your little potato you can put in. This is just a big fat one. Eyes to the sky, bum to the ground. This is one that we have done in a bucket, and I put 6 inches of soil in, and then I've just covered it up with straw. And it's nothing fancy. And it's not straw, sorry. It is spoiled hay. I'm used to using straw. I have done straw. I have used straw in a wire basket. I just took wire and I tubed it up, put the soil in, put the seed potatoes down, and then I just added straw until I figured I had enough. But there's nothing to this. You're just covering them up. Don't break the stems. And it stays really nice and moist under there. That spoiled hay just keeps the moisture locked in. Your tubers grow out there. They get lots of little potatoes on the end, and when you actually go to harvest, they're a lot cleaner. You don't have to worry about washing any soil off or anything. This is about as far as I'm going to be able to go with the straw. And again, it's hay. Do you guys know the difference between straw and hay? Straw does not have any weed seeds. It's really, really clean. Hay sometimes does, because that's what they use for fodder. That's what they use for feed. The other stuff is more for bedding. And I'm used to saying hay or straw because I'm used to doing scarecrows. And that's what I use. So that's it. Just water it regularly. When the flowers come out, if I'm really antsy, I can dig down and look for the little marble-sized potatoes, or just wait until the plant dies down. If you want to eat them fresh, when this starts looking yellow and wilty, cut it off, dump out your bin, clean off your potatoes, go and enjoy them. If you want to have them as storage potatoes, you cut off the tops, you leave them in the container for 2 to 3 weeks, and when you do that, the skins toughen up, they cure, and they're going to store longer for you. Keep them someplace dark, cool, and whatever you do, don't wash them before you put them away, or they're going to rot on you, okay? Thanks and bye. Hi, it's Candice with Grow Local, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about tomatoes. Last year we showed you how to plant them. Today I'm not going to do that so much because I already put them in my pots, you guys. If we've got some interest, I will show you again. But basically, I'm just saying that if you have a balcony or you are in a patio and you don't have a whole lot of space, this is about the smallest size container I would say to go for. You can kind of get away with it because you're going to be paying more attention to it. You're going to keep track of the watering. It's not going to dry out. You can add extra plant food if it needs it. And you should be able to get a really good crop of tomatoes. This is a new one for me that I'm trying, and it is called Tidy Treats, and it's supposed to be for containers, so we'll see how well it does. It apparently grows like a determinate, which means it has a set height that it's going to get to, but it produces more like an indeterminate. That thing will keep on giving you tomatoes all season instead of stopping at a certain number. This is another one that I've done, and this is just a regular old tomato for me. It's my black crim, my favorite one. And in this one, I've got it in the bucket. I buried it really deep, you guys, because if you remember, there's little hairs on the stem of a tomato, and those little hairs, when they get put under the soil, will turn into new roots, which gives you a really stable plant, and you get a lot more root space and root area covered for that plant to take up more water and more nutrients. This one's going to need a stick because it is an indeterminate, and it can grow anywhere from 8 to 10 feet. It just keeps going before the as long as the season does, okay? If it gets too tall for you, for me it would be foolish if I had it in the ground here and it was way up there. It's just going to get too tall. So when you think it's as high as you want it to go, just cut off the leader, cut off the tip, and it won't grow any taller, but it will concentrate more fruit set for you, okay? And in this one I've got lots of radishes coming in the bottom, and I've got my nasturtium because it attracts bugs that like eating the bad bugs, and it also attracts the bugs that don't like eating tomatoes. So that should be a pretty good one. There is another style called a Florida weave that you can use, and if you're growing a whole lot of tomatoes in a bed, you would put a really good sturdy post at each end of your row of tomatoes, and then put some sticks in between your tomato plants. Then you're just going to take twine and you're going to weave it between the sticks and the plants and tie it off. When your plants get a little bit taller, you're going to take it and you're going to weave it around those sticks with the plants in between again. If you want to see a better example of how this is done, we are going to have some pictures posted on our Grow Local Facebook page that you can check out. It's going to show you how to do the tripods. It's going to show you how to grow your tomatoes up a lattice. And there's a really cool one too where you can take a wire grid and you make it like a lid. You post it so it's a post over there, a post over there, your metal coming down this way, and you're growing your tomato all up on that. And underneath, you're going to have more shady area for your crops that don't like so much sun. So you can get more bang for your buck sometimes, okay? And that's probably all I really have to say about the tomatoes, other than keep them well watered, not dripping wet, but keep them well watered. When you ignore the watering and your soil dries out, your tomatoes, when they fruited, turn around and go, excuse me, I need to protect myself. I need to keep that moisture in there, and your skins get tough. Next time you go to water, they're going to suck it all up and your skins are going to crack and you're going to split them. They're still going to be great for eating, but they're not going to be quite as attractive. And the other one, hey kids, remember we were talking about this? Tomatoes are self-fertilizing. We talked about it in class. You've got your little blossoms, so you can walk around and you can greet your tomato every morning. Just give it a little shake, just like that. And that's going to shake the pollen around and you're going to get more tomatoes. Just good morning, love. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye. Hi, it's Candice from Grow Local, and welcome back. We're doing another one of those garden starter packs. If you have pictures up on the weekend and you got the container packs, you should have received 2 5-gallon buckets and some seedlings and some seeds. They will give you the seeds in a brown paper bag, and there's no guarantee what you're going to get, but as a good idea, this package has dill, spinach, 4-variety lettuce blend, some radishes, and some sprouting seeds too. So you've got lots to play with when you're doing this. You'll also get a 50-liter container of soil that you can use for putting in your containers. Now I'm just going to go through and show you how you can pot these things up. But first I'd like to say, if you didn't pick up your packages and you don't have the containers, not to worry. There's lots of things that you can probably find around the house so you can carry on and do it anyway. This size container, you can plant a lot of stuff in here, a whole variety of things, and it will be absolutely wonderful and easy to manipulate, and it'll just do well. However, if you don't have those kinds of containers, this is what the kids planted up. They took a green garbage bag. They poked holes in the bottom. They put 6 inches of soil, and they put their seed potatoes in. And this is how much it's grown in the last couple of weeks. When they get to this size, about a foot tall, we're going to take soil and we're going to pop it into the bag, roll up the edges, and pop it into the bag so that it comes right up to there with soil. And that's all you need sticking out. And it'll grow some more. When your bag gets probably half full, then you can just let it carry on and grow. You'll get some flowers. About 10 days after the flowers show up, you can stick your fingers in the tops of the bags and you'll probably find some little marble-sized potatoes. The kids will get excited and you're off to the races. There are also buckets like this. Sometimes the floral shops will give them away. You just have to make sure that you put holes in the bottom. Or you can hit the dollar store and get waste paper baskets. You might have ice cream tubs. You might have the infamous general store buckets that you get. Oh, what do you get in them? You get them empty. That's all I do. I go buy the empty bucket and put a lid on it. You can use your flower baskets. This is just a window box, and it has a Swiss chard, a pansy, parsley, some lobelia, and this is one of those little mouse melons or cucamelons that can grow to be like 10 feet tall. So it's kind of fun. And here you have it, edible and ornamental. Now we'll go back to planting. Big bucket, big bag of soil. I filled the other one up already. I didn't really think you needed to watch me do that. You'll firm the soil in a little bit. You don't want to make it like a brick. Don't go pushing down so hard that the new roots aren't going to be able to get in there. And I did cheat a little bit. I took it out of one bag and out of the other bag. You will also want to make sure that your soil is probably, it never goes more than 1/2 inch to 1 inch from the top. And the reason for that is when you go to water it, you want the water to be able to puddle in here and stay in here and soak through, not run off the top and all over the patio or the balcony and down onto your neighbors. So in this one, this is where we would plant some of the seeds. And one of your seedlings that you might get is a Swiss chard. And this is a rainbow. And it gets fairly deep roots, fairly thick. And he gets to be quite a large plant. He can grow up to about that size, okay? So you want to give him room. He may never get to that size if you keep coming and cutting off the leaves like you're supposed to do and enjoying it. It just keeps growing new ones. You might get some onions. And if you're wondering why mine are like this and not in pots, we didn't actually have access to the seedlings yet. We haven't picked them up. So I'm pulling stuff out of my garden and just showing you, just so you have an idea. So there, I've tucked in some onions and I've got some Swiss chard. I'm gonna put in my favorite, you guys know that from last year if you were here. There's my nasturtium. Because the leaves taste lovely and peppery. They're really good in salads. And then what do I want? I think I'm gonna pop in some radishes. These ones are really good if you're starting to do this with kids because they grow really fast. It's only like a month and they're ready to eat. The seeds are large enough for small fingers to handle. And if you were to throw some carrots in here with the radishes, when the radishes are done, you pop it out and now it's left a hole and a space for your carrots to fill in. So I've got just some radishes here, and you've got options, you guys. You can make little rows if you want, or you can just scatter them. And that's all I'm gonna do is just scatter them. They'll come up when they're ready, and you can pull them when they're ready. So that would be bucket number one. It doesn't look like a whole lot right now, but it is gonna grow. Your onions are gonna get bigger. If you've got the green ones, you can just snip some of the tops. You might have chives. You can snip those all year. I do have chives growing in the corner over here, and they're just starting to bud. And those flowers, you can use those in your salads too, but please remember to leave a few of them on the plant because they are really good. They attract the beneficial insects that you want to have in your garden for pollinating and eating the bad bugs that are going after your stuff. In the second bucket, this is usually the one that you're going to plant your tomato in. And I'm not sure what size the seedlings are that you're going to get, but I've got two sizes here. I'm going to plant this one. Again, a lot of times you wouldn't plant it quite this early. It depends on what the weather's going to be like. Most people don't plant their tomatoes until the very end of May. If it gets crummy weather, then they just stay stunted, and the ones you plant later boot up and they end up all the same size anyway. So just play it by ear. If you've got two tomatoes, do one in one pot, do one in another pot. Check the times and see what works for you. Now when you take these out, I'll tell kids to do an L for love because plants love to be protected in this web. This is where you would put the stem of the plant. So they will put their hand on top of the pot so that the stem's right in there. Then they just use their hand as a plate. They tip it over, squeeze the pot to loosen the soil, and when they pull the pot off, they have the root ball in their hand. They haven't broken any stems, they haven't pulled any leaves off. One of the things about tomatoes is they have little hairs growing all up the sides. And the deeper you plant the tomato, the more roots you're going to have coming off, and the sturdier it will be in the pot. So I'm going to actually plant it up to here. I'm just going to pinch these guys off. Make my hole. And there. He's tucked in. And what I absolutely love with my tomatoes is basil. And again, you can get different kinds of basil. This one is from, well, this one's from Grow Local, West Coast Seeds. And you'll see that the seeds are really tiny. They're just little black ones. And for little kids, it might be hard for them to get a hold of them or even see where they went. So again, I'm just going to sprinkle them. There is another company, and you can get these coated, and it's like a clay mixture that they put on it so that it's easier to see. And they look like that. And remember, each one of these little seeds is going to turn into a plant. So you'll probably want to space them. I'm going to have lots of basil in this pot. But they also love growing around tomatoes. When these tomatoes start growing up, once they start getting flowers, you can pinch off the leaves and stems that are below it, which gives more room. And then when that midday sun hits, the leaves actually provide a little bit of shade for your basil. They grow really, really, really well together. And that's pretty well it. Easy peasy. So look for the kinds of seeds that you think your kids are going to be able to handle, or which are even easier for you. There is just a myriad of things that you can grow in pots. And like I said, we will put on the Grow Local Facebook page, we're going to have a list of pot sizes and how many plants you could actually put in each pot. I have seen them where they have taken a pot this size and they have put a bamboo stick in the middle, put 3 pole beans around it, and then they made a circle of all these pots and had everything meet in the center. It's great if you're renting and you're not allowed to dig in the garden. And if you do it that way too, then when it all fills in, the kids kind of have a tent that they can go into and read their books, hide from the sun, have a break. So anyway, there you are. Those are the container packs from Grow Local this year. Thanks.